Hi, everybody. So it's been a while since I streamed, so I thought I'd come back and try to regain my setup and redo the streaming that I so often love to do. Okay, welcome. Well, I have a lot of stuff to talk to you about today. I hope that the volume isn't too loud. This is the first time that I'm kind of rejiggering with my setup after the 48 because I used this camera for the 48 and all the settings got messed up. And I think I learned a hard lesson. It's like, this is my dedicated streaming camera and I just won't use that for film unless I like borrow a different one, because the settings on a Sony camera, I don't know if you've ever opened it up, it's a lot. And to get them just right and then forget about them because you haven't touched them in like 6 months and then have to try to relearn everything again so that you could get your streaming setup back the way you like it, it is a pain in the butt. It's a pain. Well, anyway, I'm happy to be streaming here with you guys today. I'm just going to log a whole bunch of stuff. I'm a bit of a mess today. There's a lot going on. I finally have autofocus set up on my camera. I'm going to test it real quick. Oh, no, it's not working. Oh, wait, yes, it is. And then, yes, okay, good. Sorry, I had to do that. I wanted to talk to you about Adobe. I wanted to talk to you about the TOS that happened last week. I wanted to talk to you about some Ko-fi updates, and I wanted to talk to you about just the status of a few projects that Friendly Filmmaker has that I wanted to keep you in the loop of. So we got a couple of things to cover here and there. I wonder if the fan here is being very loud, and I also remembered I forgot to turn off the vent. So this is going to be a fun little stream. I'm going to enter a message into here. Hi, chat, just because I also updated OBS on top of everything else. Oh, good. It works. That's going to be annoying. I have my camera all set up over there. It seems to be working. Good. I will take it. I'll take the win. So, if any of you have heard what happened with... Well, I wonder, my Elgato stuff isn't hooked up. Any of you might have heard even a little bit about what happened with Adobe last week, which is to say that Adobe's terms and services were way overstepping. And I do mean like egregiously so. So I'm going to try to find a link that's the most recent follow-up to this saga, because this is a 3-part saga I'm going to walk you through. Here we go. Perfect. Perfect. I'm going to be able to do this, and we can walk through stage 3 together, because this is a link that I just got, even though it's been posted as of yesterday. But I am a little bit slow when it comes to replying to these things, just because that is the nature of how I go. So I want to walk you through what happened. And yes, there's the trusty vent. You may not hear it though, because this microphone is actually pretty good about tuning it out. So let's just move on to this. I have my Safari and me. So my Elgato was asleep and I don't know why. Oh, here we go. I wonder if it works. Oh, you rat. I'm gonna fade. I guess not. Does this work? Yes, it does. Actually, that reminds me of another thing that I want to do. So let's actually go through this together. So I'm gonna. Oh, hi, Tundra Portal. Sorry, I'm a little slow on the uptake. Yeah, hi. So we're gonna talk about Adobe today, and a little bit about Adobe. I also have this to share with you. So I'm on Safari right now. I wanted to also run you through this because they're gonna be our music people today. I hope it comes through. If it's tinny, let me know. It seems a little loud on my end. I'm going to turn it down just a little, and then I'm going to talk to you about it's chill. Totally the vibe that I'm going for. Okay. So I'm going to shove this over here and move this over here, and then I'll be able to talk to you guys about this. Last week I wrote an article basically bouncing off of other articles, especially 9 to 5 Mac, which is an industry, like it's been around for, I think it's got to be like about 15 years that they've been doing articles for computer related stuff, following the Apple community, following technical developments, like they're computer geeks to the core, and especially as related to Mac products, which I am a fan of and I use. And I yeah, I was very deeply disturbed by what happened here, which is that, again, this is a little loud. Adobe released an update and basically held people hostage until they signed this, as in like, I approve. And let me walk you through. So the last TOS update in this had this clause in it, which says, solely for the purposes of operating or improving the services and software you grant us, non-exclusive, that is to say Adobe, non-exclusive worldwide royalty-free sub-licensable license to use, reproduce, publicly display, distribute, modify, create derivative works based on publicly perform and translate your content. For example, we may sublicense our right to your content to our service providers or to others to use to allow the services and software to operate with others, such as enabling you to share photos. Blah, blah, blah. And it goes on. Okay. This is the meat and potatoes of what we're going to be talking about today, which is to say that basically they own all the rights to your work and you can't do much of anything. In fact, they can sublicense your stuff to other people, to other entities, to whoever they have a handshake deal with, to whoever is paying them for like affiliate content gathering or whatever. A lot of people were especially scared of having it trained on their AI, having their work trained on AI. There are some people that are working for Marvel who use Adobe. There are some people who are under NDA working on like big monster projects who are editing things that are not even publicly announced yet. And then Adobe comes along and says, hey, we can take your stuff and like publicize it or use it for whatever we want to do, which is literally what this paragraph says. It says whatever we want to do. And of course, all of those industry professionals are saying, okay, listen, we already pay a crap ton of money to sublicense on Adobe. And now you're telling us that you can like put our content on blast just because you feel like it? Like, what? Other people obviously were concerned with AI training and the fact that your voice, your likeness, the actors appearing in your film are like subject to being used without their consent or knowledge or even to train other people's AI. Which is horrible. I haven't updated my Premiere Pro and I luckily haven't been locked out. Yeah, good call. Don't update. Don't do that. Yeah, don't update because this is just part one of the saga. So last week, stay with me on this. Last week, this all came out. And of course, the entire internet, just anybody who was locked into this community, especially editors, obviously. But I put this on blast on my page because actors, you should care. Writers, you should care. People who are voice actors, you should care. Your likeness, your face, your voice is being put out into Adobe and they're saying that whatever we see, we can use because that's literally what you're signing this for. First off, ethically, that's disgusting. Because not only that, like you said, Tundra Portal, you're right. Like people have been full on locked out, extortion style. You can't access previous things. You can't export current states of your projects. You can't see where you are in the files. You can't even save your current version until you say okay to this T's and C's update, which is extortion is what it is. It's locking down people's work, people's blood, sweat, and tears, people's creativity, and creations until you say, okay, Adobe, you can use this however you want to, which is, it's just barbaric. It's like, it's absolutely disgusting. It is. And so, of course, everybody was pitching a dang fit, as they have absolutely every right to do. And let me open up the full article just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. But 9 to 5 reported this. A lot of people reported it, but 9 to 5 is one of my go-to favorites. And actually, my husband and I both like 9 to 5 Mac. They have podcasts and stuff like that too, so we're fans. Yeah. Not only is Adobe Premiere affected, Photoshop is affected, Lightroom, everything that is an Adobe Suite product, everything falls under this umbrella. If you use Lightroom to modify your headshots, your image is able to be used by Adobe however they want. If you use Adobe Audition to pump up the sound of your podcast is liable to be used by somebody else's training software. Now I'm going to talk about a few other concerns, and this is the one that I lifted, which is exactly right. If you are a professional, so here you go. This is exactly what I was saying. Like, if you're a professional under NDA with your clients, you are a creative, a lawyer, or a doctor, anyone who works with proprietary files, it's time to cancel Adobe. Delete all the apps and programs. Adobe cannot be trusted. I 100% agree. 100% agree. This is not the way to behave. Yeah. Another one. What the hell was that with your new agreement you forced us to sign this morning that locked our app until we agreed to it? We were working on a bloody movie here, and no, you cannot suddenly have the right to any of the work we are doing because we pay you to use Photoshop. What the? Yeah, 100%. Can't even get a hold of your support chat. Oh yeah, to question this unless I agree to these terms beforehand. Because yeah, it says, oh, if you have a concern, you can, follow this channel to any questions or concerns, blah, you can go to here. No, I can't even uninstall until you agree to these terms. Are you kidding me? Yeah, 100%. I freaking what? Yeah. And, Sister and I are extremely dissatisfied with Adobe's policies regarding intellectual property. We cannot continue to support a service that we believe appropriates our art without our proper consent. Yes. Sorry, I'm banging the table here. 100%. You tell me you don't agree. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's nuts. It's like it's arbitrary, mustache twirling, evil villainy is what it is. It's like seriously theft. First, we have to pay an arm and a leg to subscribe to Adobe in order to be able to use these things. The prices have gone up. The value, I mean, yeah, they put a lot of work into the software, but like it's crazy what they charge, especially in comparison to a whole lot of other softwares out there. We'll get to that in a second. And then on top of that, they own the rights to your stuff? Eka squeeze me? What? Let's continue the reading. We're not done with part 1. We're almost done, but we're not done. Oh, so it took them a good long time to reply, and now we're entering part 2 of this. So they, it is extortion, and I'm very serious. I think there's going to be, even though there's a clause, this is the funny thing, is they tried to pull a CYA move, and they tried to include another clause that said, oh, hey, by the way, you can't, by agreeing to these terms of service, you also waive your right to a class action lawsuit, filing one or participating in one. And I'm like, that's really cute, but you're still forcing people to sign this thing, and that's not going to hold up. Sorry, like you're extorting people to get access to their own work. You're prohibiting them from accessing their own work. And yeah, there you go. That's the other thing that I heard on the rumbling of the internet. Tundra Portal is exactly right. He says, they say, I don't know if this is still the policy, but if you cancel the subscription, you get charged $300. The cancellation fee, which is crazy to me because you already pay $700 a year. It's over $700 now. Last year the prices went up. Get bent, you thieving jerks. I have no words for how unethical and immoral it is. And they're like, oh, cute. Yeah, we'll recoup our costs. Okay. All right. Okay, we'll see how that works out for you come class action lawsuit time. Maybe they're charging people up front ahead of time, knowing that they're going to put their asses in the fire. Just because this is not how you behave with people. Yeah, class actions lawsuit, here we come. Abso-freaking-lutely. Because they can't do that. They just can't. It's like illegal. It's extortion is what it is. So, yeah, and I said that they put that clause in there. Absolutely. So now they said they released a follow-up statement. This is Saga Part 2. Adobe took a week to release a follow-up statement saying, oh no, we're actually wanted to, we're clarifying our updates to the TSOCs because we want to be able to screen your content alongside other people's content for potentially harmful things, specifically as pertaining to child endangerment. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not what the TSOCs say. So let's read about that. We will never own your work or use it for AI training, except legally you're allowed to. And not only that, but you're allowed to sell it to other people who then can train their AIs. But let's continue with this joke. Let's see what they said. I changed to Adobe, set the internet, and this is 9 to 5 again. Mad props to them because they really do good work. Changed Adobe sets and terms. Yep, set the internet alight yesterday after a number of pro users in the company reacted with anger and confusion to the scary looking wording. It's not scary. It is black and white right there on the page. Very simple wording that surrenders all rights to you. The company initially used a rather dismissive statement that says it seems its terms have been in place for years and it was merely clarifying them. No. But subsequently wrote a blog post which tackled the issue in more detail. The controversy over AI. Adobe Cloud users opened their apps yesterday, find they were forced to agree to new terms, which included some frightening sounding language. Yes. Moving on. There was no way to continue using the apps, to request support, or clarify the terms, or even uninstall the apps without agreeing to the terms. And then a helpful ad that doesn't do anything. So the initial statement, this is great. Policy has been placed for many years. No, it hasn't. You're great big fat liars. No, it hasn't. As a part of our commitment to being transparent with our customers, we are adding clarification examples. Adobe accesses user content for a number of reasons, including the ability to deliver some of our most innovative cloud-based features such as Photoshop neural filters and remove background in Adobe Express, as well as to take action against prohibited content. Does not access, view, or listen to content that is stored locally on any user's device. Not yet. But that's why they said, that's a lot of people store their stuff in the cloud. Because that's a service they recently unrolled is to deliberately, and they were trying to entice me to do it too. They were trying to entice me to, oh, hey, you should subscribe to the cloud service or just make use of this cloud thing. And I was like, no, I'm good to save things locally. I'm fine. And I'm really glad that I did, because I have a lot of my stuff like protected, because they're coming for people's computers next. Like that's the next step in this evolution of jokes, So, I mean, come on. And the people who have been trusting the cloud this entire time, because, they probably work on a massive amount of projects that they don't have room on their laptops. So they rely on the cloud to save their stuff. They're completely SOL, right? Subsequent explanation. And it's all like, it's just not true. It's just not true what they said, because the wording of we will screen your stuff to protect against child endangerment, that's very clear wording. We will screen this, we will do this, is very different than we have all the rights to sublicense to a third party, which is what the T's of C's actually say. You can hear the difference between those two sentences. It is not hard. And here they are trying to pull a fast one on us, which I do not appreciate. And now here we have a lot of people are in my boat, and they called BS on this, and so they have a subsequent explanation. Thank you so much. However, the company did subsequently realize the issue wasn't going to go away until it offered a proper explanation. Thank you. So it did go through a blog post. General explanation that wanted to be transparent about the content checks it performs alongside with change logs to hire the amendments. Okay, so the focus of this update was to be clearer about the improvements to our moderation processes that we have in place. Okay, given the explosion of generative AI and our commitment to responsible innovation, we have added more human moderation to our content submissions review process. But again, you're talking about two different freaking things. You're talking about moderation. We're not talking about moderation because that's not what this paragraph says. My dudes, this is different English. This is different than what you're talking about. You're talking about moderation. We're talking about the licensing rights that you are arresting from us. Us creators, we solely for the purposes of operating or improving services and software. Now, here's the thing. That is a very broad stroke umbrella. And people on Discord were actually up in a kerfuffle about this. I posted this in the Discord, and a whole bunch of people were like, excuse me? Like, what does this sentence mean? This operating improvements of services of software. Like, that is so broad. So broad. You cannot even trick me into thinking, that this is all about moderation. It's not about moderation. If it was about moderation, it would say moderation. It doesn't. It says about rights. You grant us non-exclusive, worldwide, royalty-free, sublicensable license to use, reproduce, publicly display, distribute, modify, create derivative works based on, publicly perform, and translate the content. Excuse me? Translate? What? How are you trying to say that this is moderation? How? How dare you? Sorry, I'm not falling for it. Moving on. The highlighted changes reflect the fact, and then they go on to say that Adobe now uses manual as well as automatic scanning. Okay, but again, two different things. So you're talking about moderation, and I'm talking about the whole sub-licensing thing, about the whole non-exclusive worldwide rights to do everything that I want to. Recreate, perform, specifically automatic flagging, then be escalated for human review. Okay, but again, moderation, not this. They go on to say that this is a review for CSAM as well as app usage, which breaks the company's storage in terms such as spamming, posting adult content outside the area designated for this, and so on. Yeah, again, moderation, not this. So BS is basically what it is. Now, that's stage 2, and a whole bunch of people were not falling for stage 2. Finally, Adobe released a third piece to this, which is that they overhaul the services. Adobe overhauls terms of service to say it won't train AI on customers' work. Okay, here's the thing. You still leave yourself open for a massive loophole if you agree to the T's and C's as they are currently written. Okay? Why? Because maybe Adobe can say, oh, we won't train our AI on this. But what is to stop them from saying, well, but our third-party license partner, Adobe, which we've been working with behind the scenes for 20 years, they have a sub-license to your content, and they will use your content to train their AI. Now, Adobe didn't do anything wrong. Adobe didn't train their AI. But Adobe sub-licensed your stuff because you gave them the right to, under duress and under enforcement, because you surrendered your right to sub-license to Adobe and their third partners. They now have the right to cash in on your content, sell it to somebody else, sub-license it to somebody else so that they can train their AI, or so that they can post content to the internet using your face, using your voice, using your content, using your writing, using your animations. And Adobe didn't do anything wrong, right? So I ask you to think about this. Let's finish reading this joke. Part 3 is still a little bit of ongoing, right? Because this just happened. Adobe is overhauling its terms the customers must agree to when using its apps in an effort to win back trust. Good luck. And clarify that it won't train AI on their work. The change, announced via a new blog post, comes after a week of backlash from users who feared that an update to Adobe's terms of service would allow their work to be used for AI training. This is just one of our fears, okay? That's a big one, but it's one. It's not all. The new terms of service are expected to roll out June 18th, which is next week. They should really roll it out faster than that if they want to earn back trust. And to better clarify what Adobe is permitted to do with customers' work, according to Adobe's President of Digital Media, David Wadhwani. We have never trained generative AI on our customers' content. We have never taken ownership of a customer's work. We have never allowed access to a customer's content beyond what is legally required, Wadhwani said to The Verge. Now, just because you've never done it doesn't mean that's what you were planning to do, because those T's and C's, that's kind of what you were doing, is like laying the groundwork to make that happen. Were they going to? No. Is everybody working at Adobe a much to twirling villain? No, probably not. No. But would they be happy to have access to a whole bunch of people that can people's content that could train their AIs, or, as I said, sub-license it to a partner who's then server farms? Because then watch this. Think about this. Come with me on this little thought exercise here. I don't support piracy. Okay, so Tundra Portal goes on to say, I don't support piracy, but I also heard that cracked versions of Photoshop and Premiere Pro work better than the updated versions, causing users to move on to other editing software. That's true. Absolutely. We'll talk about the fallout of this entire saga in a moment, because it's mind-blowing. But you're absolutely right, Tundra Portal, 100%. And I'm excited that you mentioned this. So, as to this thought exercise I wanted to follow you with. So, a lot of people have been saying this, so if you've already heard this, forgive me. But Adobe says it's not going to use it for AI. It's not going to use your content. It's not going to look at your computer. It's not going to look at your stuff. But first off, it said it's not going to look at your computer, like explicitly, but it didn't say about anything that you've stored in the cloud, already stored in the cloud. So stuff you have there right now is not protected. Not only that, but those terms and services that are still there, by the way, and will be there until the 18th, because I haven't read whatever they're going to plan to update. But until they remove that language, guess what? Legally speaking, words have meanings, and that is codified in a legally binding contract. Any sort of subsequent statement of clarification doesn't matter, because that's not the contract you signed. So they can dress it up as much as they want to, but the word of the contract is what's binding. And so if they say that they own the rights to your work in a sub-licensable, non-exclusive, non-competing kind of way, where they can reproduce your work, where they can change your work, where they can copy your work, where they can publicize your work, it all says that in the T's and C's right now. It says that. It's no joke. They can sub-license it, and they go on to say, oh, we're trying to earn trust back. We're not going to train our AI. Again, it's not about your AI. It's about all the multiple third-party partners, which, by the way, we don't have access to, and we don't know who you partner with. We don't. We can try to find a list, maybe. Like some guru back there can be like, okay, this subsidiary is connected with this subsidiary, and these two people know each other, so they probably have an agreement. Blah. Doesn't matter. We don't know who you're talking to, guys. So you literally have it in your T's and C's that you're able to sub-license our stuff, our content, our work, our videos, our podcasts, our headshots, our photos, our landscapes, our original illustrations, our fonts, our creations, our designs. You can sub-license every last little thing that we have in the Adobe suite right now. You can sub-license it to somebody else. They can do God knows what with it, and you are not liable. And not only that, but I'm sure you get some sort of a kickback from it because you have some sort of an affiliate connection with them. That's unethical. Do you understand why people are pissed? You should, you know? So a lot of people, and this is coming back to Tundra Portal's point, a lot of people are starting to leave Adobe. I actually am seeing a mass exodus. There have already been blog posts, and I'm actually going to try to work on some myself. Helper guides for people who want to transition away from the Adobe Cloud suite of products, and they're trying to find comparable replacements. Yes, you will have to cobble yourself together a different kind of workflow, but I think it's ultimately worth it, because if you leave your work unprotected like this, if you leave your work open to people being able to take your stuff as their own and sublicense it, they can do anything with it. It's not even about that. They could make a whole TikTok channel with your next upcoming film, and there's nothing you can do to stop them because you signed the T's and C's. Right? And it just appears there. It just appears there with your stuff, your blood, sweat, and tears, your writing, your acting, your voice, your singing, your everything. And it doesn't belong to you anymore because you've sublicensed it to Adobe and they work with other people. So, on top of the fact that Adobe has its pitfalls in terms of usability, I'm talking about specifically Premiere, but a lot of people are like, oh, my Photoshop crashed, or oh, my Premiere Cloud crashed, or my Premiere Rush crashed, or whatever. A lot of people are trying to find backward solutions that avoid the T's and C's. So prior versions of Adobe that don't have to agree to this, people have been sort of pirating previous copies. People have been digging out CD-ROMs from 2015 to try to run that on a closed computer offline so that they can continue doing the work that they're used to doing, because the workflow is hard to learn in the first place, and giving up that institutional knowledge is a very big ask, but it has to be done sometimes. And then there are the other camp of people that are saying, hey, I wanted to try DaVinci Resolve. Maybe now's the time. And I'm in that camp. I just started actually tinkering around with CapCut. It's doing pretty well. I think that some of the features in CapCut far outweigh some of the things that that Adobe can do. I also think, as industry professionals, if you are in charge of handling headshots, I know that it took you years to learn Lightroom, but I also know that you can do it again with a different program. And I think that protecting your clients' faces from bad usage cases and unethical practices by Adobe is much more worth the pain of learning something new. So there are going to be helper guides out there. I'm going to try to post a few as well. But there are already like memes out there, photos out there, lots of grids out there, walkthroughs out there of comparable things. And a lot of people can make a switch in a day and continue working and try to take a week to learn something new. And then they protect their clients. You know what I mean? So going forward, I mean, I'm literally going to be talking to some of the future editors that I have to work with on future projects and stuff. And I'm going to ask them as one of the first questions, like, hey, man, this film means a lot to me and I don't want Adobe to have any piece of it. Are you working with Adobe or are you working with something else? Final Cut, DaVinci, CapCut. CapCut I kind of half trust already because I don't know what they're doing. But the other two I definitely trust, especially Final Cut because it's part of the Mac ecosystem. And I'm sorry, but I did drink the Kool-Aid on that because there's a lot of security considerations that Apple did. So yeah, there you go. I also thought, Tundra Portal says, I also thought of using an older PC offline for editing. Great minds think alike. Yeah, exactly, right? You just close it off in a perpetual airplane mode. Just don't ever enable Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. You don't really need it, right? Yeah, absolutely. And then you could just edit in peace and not have anything connect or, you know, get taken off your machine. It takes a lot to edit anyway. It takes a lot of power too. So having a dedicated machine to just do editing is not a bad idea. And you just have, you know, you have your equipment on cards like this and just move on with your day, you know? Hey, did it work? Autofocus on this camera. Whatever. You get my idea. Yeah, you take your scan cards, you know, your SD drives right out of your camera, pop them, move on with your day, right? Yeah, Tundra Portal gets it. Yeah, so that's the long and short of it. Is there are a lot of alternatives. I learned this in computer coding. I'm going to give you a little bit of a thing. And in different aspects of life, I've run into other people who kind of say the same thing, which is to say, there comes a point in your life that you earn enough expertise in a given topic, in a given field, for example, editing, that the software almost doesn't matter. I think I've reached that point with editing. I know what I want, and the rest is just semantics. So I know if I want an L cut here or a J cut there, or if I want a transition here, or if I want a gradient there, or if I want a denoiser there, or if I want a filter there, or if I want an adjustment layer here, or if I want some lumetries, if I want some LUTs. These are all words that are across the board in the editing sphere. The rest is semantics. So try not to be too intimidated if it comes to it where you're kind of like, okay, you know what? Adobe did pull a really shitty move and I do have to move away from them. What am I going to do? Well, just try a different program because honestly, what you have up here isn't lost. And just because you knew where to find all the menus and the buttons and the subsections and the help guides in that software specifically doesn't mean you can't learn it with something else, and rather quickly too. Once you know how to edit, you know how to edit. Yeah, there you go. The perks of being a PC gamer. Tundra Portal says, my older machine still has a powerful GPU for editing. Yup. I know. There's a lot of overlap there. I'm finding it out. And I remember I started editing and also kind of gaming, just light gaming. I'm not a hardcore gamer. But I did build a machine back in the day, which I actually used for my computer graphics course. Because back then, it was a really intensive thing just to run Blender. This ages me a little bit, but in grad school, I remember I was so excited to get a $3,000 machine. It was so expensive to me at the time, and especially like 20 years ago money. That was a lot of money. And still is. I can fund an entire film right now. But anyway, yeah, I built this HP laptop. I still have it somewhere in a closet. And that thing could run a really, really, really fast set of processors, like 256 megahertz or something. It was just laughable now, but seriously. Yeah, I mean, and being able to have a fast machine to do for editing, especially since we're moving into the territory where 6K and 8K are going to start being ubiquitous, and then we down-res it to 4K as we export. That's going to be a new standard. We're already standardly exporting not just at 1080p. We're also, most people, when they put something on YouTube, it's in 4K now. A lot of people put stuff up there in 4K. And yeah, it gets down-resed by YouTube, but that's a separate issue. So, yeah, having a machine that can move fast going to be important, stays important. It stays relevant, right? It moves with the times. But yeah, you're right. Like having a nice dedicated machine that you used to use for gaming, that's definitely a leg up, right? Because those GPUs had to move. Otherwise, you weren't getting your 60 frames per second, right? For me, my game of choice was Call of Duty. What was yours? This was ages ago. I was so excited when I ran it at home for the first time. This is so long ago, but it blew my mind. I was so excited. Call of Duty, Medal of Honor. It's so bad. Yeah, so that's my history there. All this to give you guys a pep talk. Don't let the giant Adobe machine pull a fast one on you. This is not good enough. This is unacceptable. I don't care what they say about this. Like, widespread scrutiny from creatives all over the week after his customers were alerted to the language in the terms of service update that discussed AI. And it didn't just discuss AI. It's also like, it's selling your stuff. It's owning your stuff. How dare you? We pay you to use this software so that we can get our stuff done. And you are not only that, taking our money, which is crazy, crazy amounts of money. You're also trying to access our stuff? What? And again, there's a big difference between the moderation that you claim you're doing, the sanitation and the moderation and the keeping your eyes on the pulse to monitor for illegal activity. That is not what is in your T's and C's. Your T's and C's say you're sub-licensing our stuff and that we give you the right to do so. No! I'm so angry, as you can probably tell. Wadwani says the language within the TU's OCs was never intended to permit AI training or customers' work, but it leaves the door open, Wadwani. But it leaves the door open, and we see that door, okay? Not gonna pull a fast one on us. In retrospect, we should have modernized and clarified the terms of service sooner. And we should have more proactively narrowed the terms to match what we actually do. Yeah, there you go. Now we're getting somewhere. He'll get it soon. And better to be explained what our legal requirements are. Well, yeah, I mean, we understand your legal requirements. It's what a lot of people already do, too. Long-standing beef with Adobe over its allegedly industry monopoly. It's true. Subscription-based pricing models, really. And generative AI. Trained its own Firefly AI model. This is interesting now. On Adobe stock images, which, by the way, yeah, okay. Openly licensed content and public domain content to avoid some of the ethical concerns surrounding generative AI. But several artists have found images that reference their work on Adobe stock's platform, making it hard to trust the protections in place. Yeah. Wouldn't you feel sassed if you found, like, it depends. Wouldn't you feel sassed? Wouldn't you feel hurt if you saw, like, you were running your own DeviantArt page? I had a friend who just told me that he had, like, his own DeviantArt page that he ran for literal years, and he shut it down the day before because he's like, I just don't trust Adobe. Like, they're going to stake my stuff, put it into their stock thing, and what am I going to do? Like, they're not going to see it. They're going to be like, oh, hey, man, you signed the T's and C's. You created this art in our platform, so technically belongs to us now. Thanks. I would be heartbroken if somebody were charging me for my own work. All right, Tundra Portal says, it depends, but I play a lot of games from Final Fantasy to Doom to even all of the Zelda games for editing software. I haven't used it in a few years, but I enjoy Sony Vegas. Sony Vegas, huh? Let's look that up. I've never heard of Sony Vegas. You're ringing a bell, Tundra Portal. I'm going to look it up just for funsies because we can. This is our party. We can do whatever we want. Here we go. Sony Vegas editing software. Oh, look at that. Pro, free. Let's just look at this one. Download Vegas trials for free. Download Vegas. Vegas creative software. Is this what we mean? I'm going to click on it. Maybe not a good idea. Oh, there we go. Products. Get out of here. You and your cookie settings. Pro edit suite. Oh, look at that. See, there's so much options out there. Vegas Pro edit, Vegas Pro suite, and Vegas Pro post. Licensing options. See? Cloud storage. Yeah, I would not be using that. I like to save locally. Thank you. 365 subscription. That's fun. What is that, a year? Perpetual. New upgrade 1-year subscription. Look at that. You can license it for free for a one-time fee forever. That's awesome. See, there you go. And there's sales on it too. See, I mean, folks, we got options. is what I'm saying. This is an open marketplace. I'm glad you mentioned the 4K and beyond. We shot Walking Up in 1080p and upscaled it to 4K when it finished its festival run to better work with YouTube's bitrate. Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely, Tundra Portal. Yeah. YouTube downreses things and it just kind of does wonky things. So I always, even when I have a 1080p project that I filmed intending to be 1080p and I've zoomed in and all this stuff and it looks like trash in 4K, I still export it in 4K, knowing that YouTube is actually going to downres it. I actually picked that trick up from Film Riot. I happen to remember that because they did a project and they flubbed it and they're like, oh, we should have exported in 4K even though it was 1080p. And I was like, oh, that's good to know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be moving forward. Like you can get a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera for 6K. That's ubiquitous now. And some of the you can rent 5K and 6K cameras for pretty cheap now. I think renting an 8K camera is like what maybe 10 years ago renting a 4K camera used to be. So we're moving up. Like the pixels are going to get higher and higher. I mean, they're the Avengers films and the big blockbuster films are routinely filmed on 8K and 12K RE Alexas and stuff. So, I mean, they want their pixels and we're going to have to work with those at some point. So, I mean, that's just the direction that we're moving, right? Technology moves forward and we're going to be moving up. So, yeah, keeping our fingers on the pulse of like upgrading our laptops and stuff to support 8K footage is going to be a standard norm. And actually, it's not just that, but it also has to have good software that can run it as well. And Adobe hasn't been pulling its weight. Like sometimes people crash just running 4K footage. Like multiple lines of 4K footage can crash a computer depending on what the computer is doing because the software doesn't really do it effectively and efficiently. Like I have an M2 chip in my MacBook. Not to show off, but I'm just trying to tell you, I've got like one of the top of the line newest computers and Adobe has routinely crashed on me because it can't render it fast enough because of how inefficiently it renders as it goes. That's not a fault of my machine. That's a fault of the software. I'll probably do the same with Hope Rider. When I got my Blackmagic 4K, I got DaVinci for free. It's great, but it will take a little bit while to adjust. You know what? Yeah, I know. Same thing. I actually had some bumps with Tundra Portal is talking about DaVinci here. I had some bumps learning DaVinci back in the day, and there were a couple projects that I literally just burned and started over again in a different software because I tried using DaVinci to do audio, and there was this audio bug that wasn't fixed until a new point release, which is, a new main version release. It was where the audio was kind of desyncing. It was like it recorded it on stereo. It had 2 tracks of mono, but they were slightly out of sync. And so you got this echoey thing. And for the life of me, I couldn't correct the bug. And I was one of just a few people that had it. But I did have a legitimate bug in my version of software. And it was so annoying to deal with that I just literally scrapped my project. I was like, forget the colors, forget everything that I did, because I was happy with my color work. But the audio kept messing up. Every single time I would open it, it would be out of sync again. It was infuriating. And very disappointing, and I was actually scared of using DaVinci for the longest time, but so many people since then, because now that was in version 17, 18 is out right now, 18 is the publicly available right now, and we're many points into 18, so it's 18.14 or whatever it is. And a lot of people are reporting that it's much, much better, much, much smoother, a lot of better usability. Tundra Portal says, also, yes, even with my gaming PC, I shot a test before filming Hope Rider in 4K, but my PC kept crashing while still rendering, so it ended up shooting the film in 1080p. Yeah. I've had moments like that too. It depends on the project too. It's like you want to be able to do a really good job, like having the options to be able to zoom in or punch in or adjust your frame or rotate however you want to, or something is a little bit out of sync on the day, you want to be able to fix it just a little tiny bit in post, or you want your images to look really nice and export it in 4K and have it be look beautiful on a big screen. It's kind of hard to be like, okay, no, I just can't do it because, my computer can't handle it, and just have to downres the project. But it sucks, it happens, but at least you have the 4K footage as well, so you can kind of use it later on down the line if you really wanted to, like repurpose content or cut a different trailer or something, or like put up some stills behind the scenes or whatever you want, and then just have the movie live in 1080p. It's totally fine, especially like you said, like 1080p is the current ubiquitous standard. Everybody understands 1080p. Phones will do it. big screens, play it, you're fine. But yeah, I can understand that that's frustrating. That's, yeah, a bummer. So that's the fun part. Oh no, Elgato, what the heck? You guys hearing me still? Why is my camera? Hold on, let me change. Hang on a sec. I got you, buds. Stream is not over. It's just gonna be me. Where am I? Webcam. Let me switch to webcam right quick while I figure out what's wrong with my Elgato. Anyway, sorry about that blip. That was annoying. Am I still streaming? It looks like I am. Yeah, so that's annoying. I don't know what happened with my camera. I thought I had it plugged in. I mean, I do. It's getting a signal, so what on earth happened? Did it overheat? I don't understand. That's so weird. Did the capture card not go? Oh, man. Yep. Hang on a sec, guys. Just hang out with me for a bit. Boom. Perfect, yes. Because what happened was, is it going? Hang on. I'll get the autofocus going. Beep, boop, boop, beep, boop. Come on, guys. You guys are seeing the joys of streaming. So what happened basically was that my camera turned off. There we go. And I don't know why. I have absolutely no explanation. Here's me saying all the great things about my lovely camera. There we go. Here I am again. So that was a fun thing. May have to jump off the stream. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Tundra Podro, thank you for being here. Your thoughtful comments really helped the conversation go. And yeah, and I will be looking forward to Hope Rider too. I hope you post it soon. Let me know. Keep us in the loop. Thank you. And yeah, so if anybody here has been thinking about moving away from Adobe Suites, leave a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you use it for, what your day-to-day looks like using Adobe software, and what kind of pain points you're facing in terms of trying to think about something new. Or if you're like some people in the audience might be, staying with the Adobe software and just kind of hoping that they figure this out because you've sunk too much time into learning everything there is to know about Adobe, and you really can't afford the time to move away from the software, which again, I do encourage you to investigate. Where there's a will, there's a way. But if you're in the camp of, I've got too many clients and I cannot afford the week or two that it would take for me to ramp everything, to ramp up learning something new, and then to port all of my existing projects into something new, which I totally, completely understand. You probably want to finish out what you have. Let me know. Drop a comment below and let me know what your situation is with Adobe. And check out my other articles on Ko-fi, because I will be posting more things on Ko-fi to help people move away from Adobe if they want to, which I will post here. So if you follow me on Ko-fi, you'll get these for free, because I don't want to block anybody from doing this. But if you want to follow me and support me, then you get extra BTS. This is the way I support the channel. So I'm not monetized on YouTube at all, so I don't get anything from Google or anything. I do this just because I love it, and I want to help people. And I also feel indignant about some of the things that the big guys are doing, including Adobe, who, should really know better and should treat its customers better and just do better. And I'll be posting some articles, some helper guides about, hey, if you're a person who does photography and uses Lightroom, what are some good alternatives for you to process and color your photos and headshots and protect your actors who are hiring you, or for whoever it is that's hiring you for headshots. If you're an editor of film, much like myself, what are other softwares that you can investigate? What are the features that you want to do? If you do YouTube, if you do film, if you do narrative, if you do long form, whatever. If you do podcasts and you're used to Audition, what are the alternatives for that? If you do design work and you need like big, multi-layered things, what are alternatives for that? You get the idea. So I'll be posting all of those little how-to snippets on my Ko-fi blog over the coming weeks, just to help people out. I'm going to do a little bit of investigating. I've already started. And yeah, stay tuned there. And if you want to support me on Ko-fi, I'd be very much obliged, because again, that's how I keep the lights on. But again, those articles will be out there for free, because I want to help you guys move away from Adobe if you so choose, with as little bumps as possible. I'm going to be doing the same thing. I've already, like, the projects that I have in there, there's like one project that I'm finishing up, and then I'm done. I don't care if it costs $300. I don't care if it costs whatever. I'm not using Adobe again. They've broken my trust way too many times, and this is just disgusting. So yeah, they lost me as a customer, and I don't know how many others, but there's probably going to be a pretty big exodus from the company in all. And we'll have again, software come and go. Softwares come and go. So I just want to thank you guys for being here. Again, check me out on Ko-fi. Like, subscribe, do all the things. If you enjoyed the stream, give it a thumbs up. And yeah, leave a comment telling me what your Adobe relationships are. And then I'll see you next time, okay? Thank you very much. Take it easy. Bye. Let me transition.
Friendly Filmmaker is a Tuba Creations production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Mastodon. And if you like what we do, consider supporting us on Ko-fi with either a one-time donation or a membership. Members get all sorts of great perks. Check out ko-fi.com/friendlyfilmmaker for more. That's ko-fi.com/friendlyfilmmaker. Thanks for watching.